There's no doubt that, we have work to do. When you hit rock bottom, there's only one direction to go, and that's up. And that's what we're doing.
You know what, y'all? When it rains, it pours. And now, if we thought that the Democrat Party and Kamala Harris couldn't go any lower, they just did. And let me tell you who was just resurrected into the news cycle, and that is good old Willie Brown. Now, you may not be familiar with who Willie Brown is, but Willie Brown plays a significant role in Kamala Harris's political career and her ascension to becoming the VP. But here's the big kicker. Willie Brown, being somebody very special from Kamala's past, isn't giving out the type of messaging when it comes to Kamala Harris that we would expect. As a matter of fact, some people would say he's flat out stabbing her in the back. Now, in this video, we're going to do a deep dive into what might actually keep Kamala Harris from ever regaining any type of political power and what may have just been the nail of the coffin of her political career. Now, you see, this article says Kamala Harris's ex-boyfriend, Willie Brown, warns it'll be difficult for her to win California governor race as she gets cold feet. Now, let's revisit who Willie Brown is, and then we'll get back to this article. Now, Willie Brown is the former mayor of San Francisco. Now, here's a clip of Kamala and Willie back in the day sharing a moment. And when they dated, Willie Brown was a married man at that time when he established his relationship with the 29-year-old Kamala Harris and the 60-year-old Willie Brown. Check this out.
Thank you. Luck, brother. All right. You got my vote. All right. See you later.
8 out of the 10 voters I meet are absolutely persuaded that I know what I'm doing, that I'm pretty smart, that I can get the job done, and that I may be a rogue, but I'm their kind of rogue.
He's a rogue, all right, notorious for his flamboyant lifestyle. Flashy clothes, fancy parties, fine women,
Are you his daughter? No, I'm not.
and fast cars.
That lady asked Kamala Harris, "Are you his daughter?" She said, "No, I'm not." You can see that really offended her. Now, why is Willie Brown and so many other people terrified of Kamala Harris running for governor? We saw her failed attempt at running for president blowing through $2.5 billion. That billion with a B on a campaign in which President Trump swept all of the battleground states, destroyed her in the electoral college and in the popular vote. Now, here's a clip of Kamala Harris talking about the California wildfires. And this is just another peek into what actually is the reason why this woman should never get the opportunity to be in leadership anywhere. Now, after this clip, we're going to get into what Willie said out of his own mouth. But check out this clip here of Kamala Harris.
As we think about the future, we must, as a society, as a country, invest in adaptation and resilience. And we have to understand these extreme weather occurrences are extreme, but they are increasingly less rare. As we
This woman is the word salad queen. So she's talking about the California fires, and she just said a whole bunch of nothing. Now, this past week, they had a youth teen summit, okay? And they held this event in D.C. And guess who the keynote speaker was supposed to be? You guessed it, Kamala Harris. Now, the embarrassing thing about this youth teen vote summit is this is their attempt to regain the youth vote. This is their attempt to rebrand the Democrat Party and to attract back those young voters, those male voters, because Gen Z is running away from the Democrat Party, especially Gen Z males. They vilify males. They promote transgenderism, and that does not connect with young men. As a matter of fact, even the young women are realizing, hey, listen, man, this whole boss independent chick seems like all of these older ladies are miserable and becoming cat ladies and dog owners. I don't want that. I want to have a marriage. I want to be in a relationship. I want to have a family. And so this youth vote summit was supposed to be their big rally, and their keynote speakers was Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi. Now, let's take a look at just what happened at this youth vote summit. You will not believe it. Check this out.
Democrats threw a party today and no one showed up.
What the is up? Let's go. So some ground rules. I don't think that this will be super necessary because you all seem really cool, smart, and hot. Who the are we? And why are we here in a panda head? I also have had a long-term feud with former presidential candidate Marianne Williamson because she sucks. Memes change people's minds. So what's a meme, huh? Come on, people. Look alive.
After the panda, there was a really special guest.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the person who's giving us special remarks.
Hello, voters of tomorrow. I want to thank you for everything you all are doing to organize, empower, and advocate for Gen Z. We must be intentional about lifting up our young leaders and encouraging your ambition. Your generation has grown up on the front lines of so many crises, from COVID and the climate crisis to gun violence and mental health. You know what's at stake, and you are not waiting for someone else to figure it out.
Technical difficulties aside, that right there, if you didn't recognize her, was Kamala Harris. She's been on a siesta and she looks tan and rested or something. The chair of the DNC saw this and said, yep, the party's dead.
There's no doubt that, we have work to do. When you hit rock bottom, there's only one direction to go, and that's up. And that's what we're doing.
So as you saw, this youth team summit was completely empty. And in their effort, their big push to get back the Gen Z vote and to get back the young males, Kamala Harris didn't even have the decency to show up. She didn't even have the decency to speak live. The woman literally sent a pre-recorded word salad video to the summit in replacement of her, who was one of the keynote speakers. If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I will never ask you for a cash app or a super chat, anything like that. But you hitting that like button, it really helps spread the information out there. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And if you are subscribed or you're just subscribing now, make sure that you hit the notification bell and then you select all, because YouTube is kind of struggling at getting the notifications out unless you select all. So select all, that way you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Now, the 90-year-old walking corpse, Nancy Pelosi, showed up. And see, this woman is the epitome of why there should be term limits. As a matter of fact, I just found out that Nancy Pelosi's portfolio of stock investments increased by a staggering 54% in 2024, which has been noted to be the highest return of anybody on Wall Street.
I'm sure you're aware of the Nancy Pelosi stuff.
Absolutely.
It's wild.
Economists have studied the portfolios of members of Congress and find they systematically outperform the stock market.
We are a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that.
It's 100% insider trading. It's just crazy that it's legal.
While Congressman Backus was publicly trying to keep the economy from cratering, he was privately betting that it would. Do you have any idea how hard it is to pretend to be sad when you're making bank?
Why are you worth $200 million? That's crazy. You make $200,000 a year. He's better than Warren Buffett and George Soros, who are like wizards.
And obviously something fishy is going on when members of Congress are doing better in the stock market than Warren Buffett.
How does anything get done when we have Congress people engaging in insider trading?
Now, how does a sitting congresswoman, former majority leader of the House, have better stock trading than the smartest minds on Wall Street and increase her wealth substantially to be worth close to $300 million? It's nuts. But we saw that youth rally. Now, let's get into what good old Willie Brown had to say about Kamala Harris's chances at becoming governor and the advice that he gave her when she became the VP. Check this out.
She may not want to run for governor of the state of California. That may not be where she should be going. I think it's going to be difficult for her to win that job.
Willie Brown sitting down for this rare and candid interview with John Slavitt, who's the founder and host of the State of Gold podcast. John joins us now in studio. Welcome. Congrats on the podcast.
Very much. Great to be with you mano a mano.
So what did Willie Brown say to you about Kamala Harris? Because there was a lot there.
Yeah, well, first of all, kudos to Willie, age 91, still going strong, still sharp. I mean, I think that's amazing. He in effect said he doesn't think governor is a fit for her.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about her strengths in the legal world, but not as an executive, which to me was pretty stunning because this is a guy who knows her very well. He's a legend in Democratic politics, right? He's been a mentor to Kamala, and he actually cares about the future of California authentically. And he, in effect, said she should try something different.
And he also said to you that he told her that when Joe Biden offered her the vice presidency, that she should turn it down.
He did.
And try to be the attorney general instead.
He did. First he chuckled. He's got a great, kind of knowing chuckle. And he said, He said, I got in trouble for this when I said it. But what he told me is that when she was one of the final five and Biden was reviewing the final candidates, he recommended to her when she asked him for his advice that he suggest that Biden nominate her as the attorney general. And it goes back to this theme of he believes that Kamala is better in the legal world, not as an executive. And that's so important right now in terms of what California needs, which he and I talked about further in the episode.
And he said that as attorney general, she might end up on the Supreme Court, which is where he thinks that she would be a better fit. He also said after that conversation, she never called him again. Can
you imagine that crap? Kamala Harris as a freaking Supreme Court justice. Give me a break. Give me a break. Now, Willie Brown isn't the only person that thinks that Kamala Harris should stay far away from the gubernatorial race because she doesn't have a shot. But check out what other people have to say. As a matter of fact, let's listen to some voters as they give their opinions on what Kamala Harris should do when it comes to California. Check this out.
Do y'all remember Kamala Harris? Well, if you do, she is currently leading by double digits and becoming the leading candidate for the governor of California. It seems to me like California just can't get it right. I mean, just what in the hell is going on over there? She was already a prosecutor in California and she was one of the worst ever. The things she did were awful with just that little bit of power. You want to make her the fucking governor of California? The current regime in California is bad enough. I feel bad for y'all. Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass didn't even have any fucking water in the reservoir to put out the LA fires that they knew was probably going to happen. And I don't even live in California, but hats off to y'all for even dealing with this shit. And I know some people out there will argue like, bro, like this is kind of what California has always been. They're not going to be a red state and be pro-America out of nowhere. That's not going to happen. They've always been this upper class, like ahead of the curve, man, kind of state. And they're not going to change that anytime soon. I don't know. But from the outside looking in, it looks like California does need to draw a fucking line somewhere and go, okay, y'all need to chill out. God bless America.
Now let's listen to what the people in the media, the news is saying about this from their reports on the street in California.
If we had Kamala Harris run for governor out here in California, there's such a distaste for her right now that I do think that might be able to help flip the state red. Kamala Harris has allowed the Democrat Party to kind of see what was she doing while Joe Biden was incapacitated as this starts to become exposed and people spent millions of dollars on this campaign, right? I think the Democrats out here in California are upset. They saw a huge loss. They blame the Democrat Party. They blame Kamala Harris for that loss.
So now, as you heard, so Kamala Harris, they blame her for the loss. The donors are not excited. You got political powerhouses like Willie Brown saying that she needs to stay away from that seat. She needs to not be in that race. Matter of fact, he's supporting somebody else totally. So let's get into this article. Kamala Harris's ex-boyfriend, Willie Brown, warns it'll be difficult for her to win California's governor's race as she gets cold feet. Former vice president, let me enlarge this some so you can see what I'm saying. What I'm reading, so I apologize. Former Vice President Kamala Harris's boyfriend and political mentor Willie Brown said it will be difficult for her to win the race for governor of California, even as she considers running for the open seat next year. I really do hope, frankly, that she comes to that reality. She may not want to run for governor of the state of California. Brown revealed in a podcast interview that may not be where she should be going. I think it's going to be difficult for her to win that job. Harris has indicated she will make a decision about the race for governor of California this summer, but has largely removed herself from the political conversation. Brown indicated that Harris did not have the executive leadership experience to run for the office after serving as vice president of the United States. That is a diss. That shows just how ineffective this woman was as the VP, that they don't even feel like she has the ability to be the governor of the state. There's just so many really talented people thinking about that job, Brown said, listing other California Democrats who had already entered the race. He singled out former Los Angeles mayoral candidate and businessman Rick Caruso, that is the real estate guy, the land guy, as a serious candidate. That is a really talented guy with great executive potential, he said. Brown chuckled and said he had gotten into real trouble in the past for giving Harris public political advice, but could not resist weighing in on her political career. And Willie Brown is 91 years old. There they are. She is bold enough, tough enough, and well-informed enough that if she would utilize that talent, she would not need a person like me giving her advice, period. She will be doing what needs to be done. So again, he's dissing her. She's not intelligent enough to realize her strengths and listen to somebody like him. She's allowing ego and these extreme left-wing radicals make her believe that what she's pushing is what the American people want to buy, and they don't. She is a communist-loving, Marxist-studying, left-wing extremist radical who believes in using taxpayer money to pay for transgender surgeries for illegal immigrants and inmates in prison. Her words, not mine. Brown recalled that he once recommended Harris turn down the opportunity to serve as vice president in 2020 if the then Democratic nominee for president, Joe Biden, offered her the job. He suggested her talents were more suited to the legal field and should have chosen to serve as Biden's attorney general instead. From the attorney generalship, you may land where you, I suspect, are most talented, and that's the Supreme Court. And you could easily become Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Brown said, recalling his advice to Harris, who was a senator from California at the time. I think she stopped speaking to me after that, he added, weirdly. It's a new word for me, W-R-Y-L-Y. I'm going to look that one up. Brown infamously dated the 29-year-old Kamala Harris when she was 60, and he was leaving his speaker position in the state legislature and ran for mayor of San Francisco. When they dated, Brown was considered the most powerful politician in California. And although he was still married, he was estranged to his wife, Blanche, who lived in a separate home from him. While they were dating, Brown appointed Harris to 2 different state boards, which paid her more than $400,000 over 5 years. Their romance also opened up the doors for Harris to develop relationships with the rich and powerful in the state, priming her for national political career. Brown and Harris separated after he won the race for mayor, but he continued to quietly support her political endeavors as she ran for district attorney of San Francisco, attorney general of California, and then California's U.S. Senate seat in 2016. So when people say she slept her way to the top, that is not a joke. She used to date Montel Williams. Now, you may not be familiar with who Montel Williams is, but he had that show, that big talk show. She dated him. She dated Willie Brown. So this is a woman who doesn't mind using what she got to get where she want to go. The only problem with that is that the parts of the body that she needs to use to be effective at these jobs are on total opposite ends of her body. The one she needs to be successful in politics and in leadership is up here. The one that she needed to move forward and advance her career, I'll let you figure out where that is. When Harris prepared to run, and I'm right here, when Harris prepared to run for president in the 2020 presidential election, Brown addressed their relationship in a newspaper column. I certainly helped with her first race for district attorney in San Francisco, Brown wrote in January 2019. I have also helped the careers of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Governor Gavin Newsom, Senator Dianne Feinstein, and a host of other positions. Brown served as San Francisco's first black mayor from 1996 to 2004. So there we have it. You've got now, what is it that make Willie Brown, who was the mayor of San Francisco, and before that, the speaker of the state legislature, what is it that gives him so much juice? How is he a king or a queen maker? What is it about this California thing? And you know, one thing about the Democrats that I noticed, they don't give a dang about talent. They care about this whole pecking order thing. They talk about fascism with Trump when that is the most fascist party ever. They ignore voters. They install who they want. They ignore the law, even though they say no one's above the law. That's why Hunter Biden was pardoned. James Biden was pardoned. The entire Biden family was pardoned because no one's above the law, right? That's why Letitia James, 46 days after committing mortgage fraud, goes after President Trump for mortgage fraud. These people are insane. You got Adam Shifty Schiff saying, oh, I've seen all this evidence on Russia collusion, just to find out that Obama created the Russia hoax. And Adam Schiff, who said, oh, I've seen so much evidence, and was on the January 6th committee, who also destroyed all the evidence that they used to bring these witch hunt impeachment trials on President Trump. These people are diabolical demons who need to be eradicated out of politics. Listen, having a difference of opinion is healthy. We need that. But these people hate our country. They support the Palestinians and Hamas. They promote turning young boys into girls. You got Obama, who is the real first gay president, saying that young boys need to have a gay man around to tell them about their father.
That's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
Mm-hmm. One dad.
No matter how good the dad
is. He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. And then that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
one of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor in college at a time when openly gay folks still weren't outlawed, who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group so that if you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this.
This coming from a man with no sons. As a matter of fact, his own daughters have changed their last name. Maybe they found out that they're not biologically theirs, and their mom may not have been able to really have babies due to the fact that her gender isn't the right one to have children. I'm just saying this jokingly and allegedly, but the Obama daughters did change their name. Why would they be embarrassed to have the Obama name? Or did they find out something? Now, I'm saying allegedly for the purposes of protecting, myself. But at the same time, think about it. Remember when Joan Rivers made the announcement that everybody knew that Michelle Obama was a tranny? Her words, not mine. And the woman wound up unalived a month later.
Ms. Rivers, how are you? You made a ton of news officiating the wedding in New York yesterday. Is this like a new cottage career move for you?
I'm so excited.
Okay.
And I should do very well because I don't choke.
And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay. She does it.
And go back and look at Michelle Obama's pictures years ago and look at them now, how she got that jaw chisel. Look, go back and look in those shoulders. But hey, I digress. We back on Kamala Harris. And the reason why I referenced the Obamas with her, because I just did a video and you should check it out. And it's on the Obama Gate, where this woman was hand in hand with Obama's pushing the Russia hoax, pushing the propaganda that almost tricked not us, but tricked enough people in the country where we'd have this left-wing extremist radical woman that would have drove this country off a cliff. We'd have been hanging up Mexican flags and Palestinian flags and gay pride flags, and the American flag would have been burning. They talk about January 6th. That was a group of patriots that seen that these people had stolen an election. That's why those numbers of 2020, all of those voters, go back and check every presidential election year. You never see the numbers hit as high as they did in 2020. But then in 2024, it goes back down, even though they labeled Trump as Hitler, an existential threat, and he was going to destroy the country. You mean tell me people sat that out for Hitler? No, it's because they manufactured those votes to get Joe Biden over the hump during the pandemic, and looked at the destruction they did in those 4 years. And now within the first 6 months, President Trump is turning this Titanic, righting this ship and sailing us towards the golden age of America first. And I'm here for it. So tell me what you think about this. Nobody is supporting this woman. Even her ex-lover is telling her, go sit down. And he's backing Rick Caruso. Now, during the California wildfires, you know what Rick Caruso did? This man had more foresight than Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom, and he warned them. This man had his own fire trucks, because he's got like his own mini city within a city with his buildings, his houses that he said that he rents out and leases and the property. He had his own fire department and fire trucks loaded up with water, and his area didn't burn down. He was ready. And you think he warned Karen Bass them? Absolutely. And guess what their reservoirs were? That it had enough water, that could have had enough water in them to save California, save LA. They didn't want to save LA. They want that smart city. And if you go back and look, since 2020, they had plans for the smart city by 2028. And then ironically, the land area that they wanted to use for the smart city, ironically and conveniently, burned to the ground. Now, you might not believe in conspiracies, but because I definitely know 1 + 1 = 2. And if it quacked like a duck and it walked like a duck, you know what it probably is. So tell me what you think about this. Do you believe Kamala Harris has a shot at governor, or should she go sit down somewhere and have a Coke and a smile? And it'll be a solid, man. I thank you for hanging out with me. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. And if you aren't subscribed already, subscribe. And most importantly, I want you to stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.